So welcome, you made it. You're here. You carved out the time for February's Learning and Development Roundtable. We have Anara and Chi joining us. I'm just really grateful that you're here. And let me just share our screen. Share the screen here. And just put a thumbs up in the chat if you can see the screen. So put a thumbs up in the chat if you can see our screen. Okay. And just keep yourself on mute unless you need to ask a question. So I'll just ask that. Great, so folks can see. Okay, so once again, February 2021, can you believe it? We're already in the second month of 2021. And today we are going to focus on creating learning plans. So just a technical thing before we get dig in too much. Just let me know if you can see me and hear me okay in the chat. Patricia's saying good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone this finds you in. So great, okay. Oh, good. Okay, thanks, Pal. That's great. Okay, so also know that just a really quick thing, if you happen to hear something that sounds like a squealing greased pig and that someone, it sounds like someone's being hurt, that is not the case. This time of day, I'm in Nairobi. The ibises can be flying overhead, which is a type of bird that looks really beautiful. It's on the screen there, but they sound horrible. So if you hear that noise, just know it's a bird and it will pass quickly. And also know that if for whatever reason the power goes down, I'll be back up and running really quickly again. So know that. And welcome. I cut this out, I don't know how many years ago from a newspaper, so you can tell how long ago this was. And I just think it's really kind of apropos to welcome you. Welcome, single, twice divorced, under 30, gay, filthy, rich, poor as dirt, can't sing, married with pets, older than God, workaholic, bad speller, screaming babies, significant others, passive aggressive, obsessive compulsive, tourists, seekers, doubters, bleeding hearts, and you. So however you come to be here today, know that I appreciate you, I appreciate your time, and for making it work today. So welcome. What does it mean to be part of this community? The Learning and Development Roundtable is running, I think, 8 years now. And my intention is to have a very supportive community that's focused on learning and education and training. And to acknowledge that I'm here to give support. And I also hope that you can support other people because I know that there's lots and lots and lots of expertise in the group. So especially during a global pandemic, knowing that we all need to get support, to give support and to receive it. So Patricia's saying, hello, fellow Canadian. Hello, hello. Okay, and they have welcome back. It's lovely to have you here. And then finally, yeah, so both to receive and to give. And it's a really special place. I started this community about 8 years ago. So I'm so glad that you're here and you are welcome. The plan for today is this is kind of our roadmap. We're focusing all on learning plans today. So I'm going to go over what a learning plan is and why it's so important, how to use the template. I'm going to give you access to a template, a worksheet that you can use to create your own learning plan. How to use something that I've designed called the S.A.K.E.s, which makes filling in a learning plan, figuring it out quite easy. And then also, I'm really hoping that we're going to have some fun along the way. I like to say that suffering is optional. So the Pink Panther may make an appearance, and we just might have a friendly little competition in pairs with a prize even. So that's the plan for today. Before we jump into our content, just a little bit more about me in case I haven't had the pleasure of meeting you yet. These are 3 things about me. And only 2 of these things are true. So one of these things is not true. Welcome, Diana Rose. I can see you're just joining us. And let me know in the chat which number you think is not true. Which number you think is not true. So is it number 1 that I'm learning how to play Hallelujah, the song Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen? Is that not true? Number 2, is it not true that I learn best by listening? Or number 3, is it not true that my learning plan includes learning more about unconscious bias? Welcome, Sarah. So I can see you're just joining us. So we have a lot. See, we've got 1s and 2s, lots of 2s, 1s, 2s, 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 3s, 1s, lots of 1s, 2s, 2s, 2s. Oh, Luigi's joining us. Okay, so number 1 is true. I decided a good plan during COVID to have on my learning plan is to learn how to play the piano. So I am learning how to play Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen. It's one of the songs on the app. I'm using this amazing app called Simply Piano. And that's one of the songs. And oh my goodness, there's one section that's very difficult, but I have tenacity, so I'm all in. Welcome, Diego. I can see that you're joining us, and Alexandra. So number 1 is true. Number 2 is not true. So if I have to sit in front of someone and just listen, and I can't take notes, I can't sort of, put all things together or be doing something, it's really hard for me to get that information into my brain. So today's learning plan is all about creating a customized learning plan that fits you. And if you're also working on behalf of a team, that also fits your team. So really, really customized. No one size fits all. I'm a 5'10" woman, and I can tell you that those supposed one size fit all nylons, they do not fit. So none of the one size fits all. So number 3, learning more about unconscious bias is definitely on my learning plan this year. So I'm going to guide you through a process to figure out not only what you want to learn this year, but also how you want to learn it in a way that fits you. And pretty soon, I'm also going to ask you about upcoming roundtable topics, and unconscious bias could be one of those topics. In the meantime, know that I pretty much focus on 3 areas in my learning and development work. So I work with all sorts of teams to help them work better together. So that's all around communication training and conflict resolution and culture and all sorts of things that start with C. I also work with organizations and teams to help them with tech tools for ease and efficiency. And then I work with lovely subject matter experts to teach them how to teach in powerful, engaging, creative ways that are accessible and inclusive. So that's a little bit about me. And I want to turn it over to you folks and see who's in the room. So please, in a second, please unmute and say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is in your time zone. So on the count of 3, unmute and say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. And you can say that in your first language. And if you have more than one first language, you can pick one. So 1, 2, 3.
Good evening.
Buenos días, good morning.
Good
evening.
Awesome. Awesome. So I heard lots of each of them. So good mornings, good afternoons, and good evenings. And I just also want to acknowledge that wherever you're coming to us in the world, if your day is just starting or it's just ending, just to be mindful of that. And I appreciate you being here. So I'd love to know in the chat, what brought you here? Why did you, of all the millions of things you could be doing right now, just pop in the chat why you decided to join us today. And you can also, I'd also love to know, where are you? And you can answer that by city or by country or by room in your house, whatever works for you. Veronica's just joining us. So Joella is a curiosity. That's great. Alexandra, I attended a roundtable of yours a couple of months ago and enjoyed it. Great. Welcome back, Alexandra. Halvard, always interested in learning. Greetings from Paris. Oh, bonjour, bienvenue. Neha, Nairobi, the session seemed intriguing. Great. Penny says, pique my interest. Where are you, Penny? You're on the south coast of Kenya. Yes, okay, great. Alexandra's in Switzerland. Esther's in Kenya, here to learn. Pam, Kamloops, oh my goodness. I'm from Vancouver and Kamloops is kind of north of Vancouver. I've been following your blog since the beginning and really enjoyed last year's monthly suggestions. Awesome, thanks, Pam. Diego joined because I really need a plan for learning this year. Oh, from Colombia. Fantastic, welcome. Naomi says she's in Nairobi, lots of things to learn from the sessions, great. Karen says, I'm in London, have been following Leanne for years, ever since we met in Paris. Yeah, that was a long time ago. I don't know, what was that, 2010 or something? Curiosity of what these are and what I can learn from it and use. Vanessa is interested in learning and from Sao Paulo. Sarah's in Nairobi, Irene's in Athens, Heidi seemed interesting. Oh, Lucia, welcome. It's so lovely to see you here. Welcome. And she's in Mexico City. Anna's keen to learn. Hometown is Torino, but normally in Iraq. Christina, New Zealand. And the learning plan is new for her. Fantastic. Alexandra's in a new role. Oh, James is in Dadaab. Wow, fantastic. James, welcome. And she in the learning and development field want to learn more in Geneva. Great. And Baron, Geneva, Switzerland, looking forward to the session. Fantastic. Welcome. I'm so tickled that you're all here. Okay. So just a couple of really, really quick housekeeping sessions because I want to give you as much time as possible to dive into this content. Please, please, please make the most of your learning. So anytime, feel free to ask questions in the chat. And also, again, acknowledging that there's so much wisdom and expertise in the group, please feel free to offer suggestions and things that have worked for you and resources in the chat. That would be great. And know that we are recording. So if you are, and this is an important caveat, if you are a learning and development member, you get access to the audio recording, the visual recording. I'm trying something new this month, actually. Let me know how it goes. I've created a workbook for you. So the members will get access to the workbook, which has all of the resources in it. And the recording. So again, if you are a member, you get access to those things. And I will put, as we go along, I'll put the link in the chat. If you haven't joined, you can just click on that link and join. Number two, if you are a UN staff, if you're not a UN staff, don't worry about it. But these learning and development roundtables count towards your UN mandated training. So if you want to get credit for them, you just need to click on the attendance sheet. I'll put that in the chat. It's also in your agenda that I emailed you all. And make sure that you fill in that RSVP or the attendance sheet today. And then that goes to the staff training and development unit and they will give you credit. Again, only the members get access to all 8 years of resources. So make sure you sign up. When you click the link that's in the agenda and which I'll put in the chat, this is what the sign up looks like. And please, I really, one of my one of my goals this year is to really grow our community. So if I can ask you, if you're happy with the session today and you feel like it was worthwhile, please think of at least two people that you can forward this joining link to. I would love, love, love to grow our community. So again, I'll put that link in the chat and please feel free to share that with friends and colleagues. And when you RSVP for a meeting, that's different than signing up to be a member. So RSVPing is for a specific meeting and becoming a member means you get on the mailing list and you'll get all the invitations, you get all the resources, all 8+ years. Sometimes people get those two things confused. So just to let you know. And mark your calendars. These are all the upcoming dates. This was also in the agenda that I sent you, so you can look at that there. And it's, I would love to know what you are interested in. I don't have topics planned. I have things rattling around in my brain, but in just a moment, I'm going to give you a poll. I'm here to serve you and help you with your learning needs. So I'd love to hear from you. But just before that, especially if you're new, this year I had a ton of requests from people in time zones that aren't friendly to East Africa. So I am alternating. Every second month, we meet the third Friday, and every alternating month, we meet the third Thursday. So I'm trying to be able to meet those requests of different time zones. So we're in a North America and South American, a little bit more friendly at this point. Okay, so any questions so far? Anything about kind of the logistical things about the roundtable? If you have any questions, just pop those in the chat. Otherwise, I want to give you, I'm just going to open a poll in a second. So I would love to know from you. This is what the options are so far. And if you have other ideas, please share those with me. Which of these topics are you interested in? So I'll just explain them briefly, and then I'll bring up the poll. And you can pick as many as you want. So one of them is a learning lab. So that's an informal learning and development workshop where you could bring your questions and answers. I would collect questions ahead of time, anything to do with teams and technology for ease and efficiency and training and learning. We could do a session on that. Public speaking and facilitation, that could be another one. Negotiation could be another one. Gender and unconscious bias, communication skills, tech tools to help you get organized and stop feeling overwhelmed, to take back control of some of your time. And then, sorry here. Oh, sorry. And then tools to build community and engage online. And then there's actually also another one that you'll see in a second, which is all about creative problem solving. So I am going to open the poll. So just let me know in the chat if you can see the poll. Can you just let me know in the chat there? Just let me know. We've got Janet and Everline is joining us. Oh, you can't see it yet. Not yet. It says that it's showing. Not yet, eh? What's going on? Oh, there we go. Okay. How about just, oh, you can see it now, Lila? Okay, great. So again, you can pick as many as you want, and I can see there's some questions. So, so Neha's asked, is negotiation skills based on jobs? That's a great question. So it's kind of, my intention was kind of a general negotiation workshop that you could apply to anything, including your jobs. Halvard is saying, how do you get the automated subtitles? Can they be automatically translated into, Halvard, that's a bit of a, so I'm really glad you asked that, actually. So for the very first time, there's going to be automatic closed captioning. So members will also get access to a transcript. So I will make a note and I will include a video in the resources that someone made, not me, someone else made, about the transcripts and the closed captioning. That's a new thing with Zoom and it's really cool. So I'm trying it for the first time right now. Patricia, okay, thank you. That's a great comment there. And any other questions? That is very strange. From my end, it says that you can see the poll. I wonder why. I haven't had this happen before. Okay, let me stop sharing again. And let me try to launch the poll again. Okay, so cross your fingers and Okay, can you see it now? Luigi, thank you for being flexible and how you're great. Oh, good, good, good. Okay, so remember you can pick as many as you want. You don't have to pick just one. And welcome to those of you just joining us. Great. So for those of you just joining us, we're looking at potential topics for upcoming roundtables, and you can pick as many of the ones that you're interested in. And these are ones that that I can potentially do in the upcoming year. So, oh, it's great to see there's interest in all of them, which is really interesting. Great. Okay, so I'm going to end the poll in just a second. So if there's anyone yet who hasn't had a chance, you can, again, if you're just joining us, you can pick as many as you like. And I'm going to end the poll in just a second, and then I'll share the results with you. By the way, if you're doing Zoom calls, Zoom automatically saves these results, but they don't save it in they save it in raw data. So I always like to take a screen grab ahead of time, which I'm going to do in a second. Okay, so I'm going to end the poll, and then I am going to it's being tricky today. That's funny. I don't know. It usually gives me a button to press that I can share the results, but it's not giving me that today. I don't know. Maybe the moon's in a weird position or something. What I can do is I can post that in our Facebook group. By the way, the link to join the Facebook group is in the agenda, so I can put it in there. And then I'll also, later on when you're doing some work, I'll also put it in the chat. Okay, great. So thank you very much for your feedback there. That's great. I'm sure, sorry that I can't share it with you for some reason. Okay, so let's continue on. Okay, so to recap then, I know your time is really precious, so make the most of your learning, participate in the chat, ask questions, offer resources. If you're a UN staff member, make sure that you fill in the, click on the attendance sheet. That's how you get credit for the roundtable. If you're not a member and you want to get access to all the resources, make sure that you sign up. And I would love it if you would invite others, please. And then mark your calendars with the upcoming dates, and feel free if there's a topic that you're interested in that wasn't on the poll, then feel free to share that with me. You can email me or put it in the chat. Okay, so before we get started then with our learning plans, any questions so far? Just give me a thumbs up or a yes in the chat if you're ready to proceed. Just let me know how you're doing. Okay, great. And we have Veronica is joining us. Great. Okay, so once again, our, let's see, we've got some questions here. Baran, where do I click on the attendance sheet? So Brand, if the link is in your agenda that I would have emailed you. And also as we go along, I'll put it in the chat so you can access it there. And Halbert, can the live captions be automatically translated? I don't know if they're offered in other languages. The video that I watched that I'll include with the resources in the follow-up, it didn't mention other languages, so I'm sorry, I don't know. Okay, great. So today's plan is, again, we're going to talk about what a learning plan is and why it's super important for you and your team to have one. How to use the template. So I'll give you access to a worksheet that makes it super easy. And most importantly, able for you to customize it so that it fits what you need to learn, what your team needs to learn, and how you are best suited to learning it. I'll teach you a tool called the S.A.K.E.s, which is an easy way to make sure that you're being comprehensive in your learning plan. And then we'll have a little friendly competition, and there'll be a prize, and the Pink Panther is going to show up. And again, if you are a UN staff, make sure that you sign the attendance sheet so that you get credit for today. Okay, so as we dive in, I have a question for you. How many items do you see on this page? Feel free to pop it in the chat. How many items do you see on the page? Someone says 6. We've got 5, 4. Okay, great. So we've got the lowest number is 4. The highest number is, I think, 6. Okay. Great. We're going to come back to that. So that's a way to kind of whet your appetite. And speaking of this, again, I really want to make it customized for you. There's nothing worse than feeling like you have to be fit into a box. And I want to make it simple. So I love this comic from many years ago, which makes a toilet like super, super complicated. And I want the learning plan to be anything but that. So we are going to use some technology, but we'll make it nice and simple so that you can actually focus on what's important, which is the learning. Okay, what have you learned lately? I'd love to know. Pop it in the chat. Anything. Could be professional, could be personally related. As I mentioned, I'm learning how to play the keyboard. That's on my learning plan this year. Unconscious bias is on my learning plan. Meditation is on my learning plan. How to build a table. Penny, do you mean like a physical table? Or do you mean like a table in Excel? Or Pam's saying how to use power tools. Awesome, way to go. Learning how to do lino cut art. Oh, Alexandra, that sounds amazing. Diego's starting to learn French. Coffee table, wow, that's impressive. Janet is also learning French. Lucia, how to apply to a company accelerator. Oh, how exciting. Lila is decorating cakes. Patricia's spending quality time with my dog. Fantastic. Irene, the third person mentioning French, and driving. Wow, great. Halvard is saying creating a culture of feedback. Oh, nice. Oh, I should have put that on the list. That's another thing that another workshop I'm interested in is giving and receiving feedback. How to be a professional coach, says Everlyn. Barron's is exploring and using new virtual communication platforms. Oh, that is my jam. Alexandra is meditation. Nice. Esther, how to build my resilience. Nice. Rael, pivot tables. Oh, nice, nice, nice. I just learned how to sort, do multiple sorts in Excel sheets. Diego is, oh yeah, French club, yeah. Neha's learning to hear. Oh, heal. Okay. Oh, wow. That sounds like it's got a story behind it. Vanessa, another person learning French. Wow. Diana Rose, using rubrics in competency-based curriculum. Wow, nice. Okay, so I'm really glad to hear that you're learning things, because I think being human, that's really important to continue learning. I'd love to know, how have you learned it? So did you take a workshop? Did you watch a video? Did you use an app? So how have you been learning? Someone took a workshop, says Esther. Virtual workshops. Pinterest is Penny's go-to. YouTube. Oh, Lila, I just wrote a post that's going to go up soon on 5 things you might not know about YouTube and how to watch YouTube with a little bit more control. Okay, we have, oh, Halima's joining us. Okay. So Alexandra says reading, learning by doing, says Alexandra. Diana Rose, a workshop. An app, says Chi, great. Podcast, on-the-job training and YouTube, podcasts and articles, books, an online course, audio books, training events. I think that part of the learning is based on the need to survive through the pandemic. Absolutely, yes. So I love that there's so much variety. And you've already mentioned that a bunch of different platforms that you use for tech to help you learn. Any other ones? So we've had online workshops and YouTube and audiobooks, different kinds of videos, online workshops. Any other kind of tech? Has it played a role for you in learning? Albert or Vanessa saying with a refugee teacher. Did you mean you're learning with a refugee teacher? I'm not sure exactly what that means. Trying and failure. Yeah, try. Yeah, believe me learning how to play Hallelujah, the song I was mentioning on the piano. So many. Neha's asking, which app are you using to learn a language, Chi? Oh, okay, it's a project to help them. Nice. Okay, thanks, Vanessa. Fantastic. Okay, so when we're thinking about learning, I just came up with a few really simple reasons why it's so important that we have a learning lens. And there's many, many reasons. Any suggestions that you would have? Why is it's so important to continue to learn? What would you say? What's your number one thing that makes learning so important? Oh, I was wondering, Chi, if you're using Duolingo. That's an amazing app. It's so well designed. Growth, inspiration, keep your brain active. Yes. Stimulate creativity, personal and community growth, acquiring more knowledge, delivering your job, staying at pace with change and transformation, confidence, growth, exposure. Yeah, we're an information overload society. We need to be open to learning due to changes. Absolutely, Patricia. Diversification of skills, personal growth, staying on top of new developments. Absolutely. Okay, so some of the ones that I came up with are dispelling assumptions. Oh, information and power. So I think learning really helps identify and get rid of assumptions. So I love this picture. I don't know if anyone's seen it before, but this little dog kept escaping the fence, and instead of building a whole new fence, their owner just tied a stick, a spoon to the back of the dog. So I think that is just brilliant. Yeah, I think it's pretty funny, Lucia. And it's a really lovely kind of, dispelling assumptions. Number two, it expands what's possible, right? It expands what's possible. So I'm going to just quickly stop the share, and I'm going to share a different screen here. And I'm going to show you a quick video, and just know that I can't always control the volume. So just be ready. You might need to turn your volume up, or you might need to turn it down. So here we go here. Let me know if you can see the video in the chat. Just let me know that you can see it. Okay, so here is Joey.
What happened, Joey?
My head is stuck.
Your head is stuck?
Mhm.
Really?
Hey,
How'd you do that? What were you doing when you did that? Joey? Hold on, Johnny. Daddy's coming. He'll help you out.
And folks, while you're watching this, feel free to put in the chat, how would you get that little boy unstuck? What would you do to get that little boy unstuck? Feel free to put that in the chat.
Don't. What did you do?
Please.
I can't squeeze. I can't squeeze. I
Okay,
can't.
stay
Okay,
right there.
calm down. Oh, baby.
Stay down. Worried about something breaking.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable? You doing it?
Yeah.
How did you do it,
It's
bud?
about, it's turn and
Go.
pull.
No,
Just
it
like
doesn't
Bolt.
work on Bolt. Your head, you don't have a dog head.
He's trying to do it like the movie.
And get it through there. No. Well, bud, we might have to do this the hard way.
No, let Mama help.
I know what
Okay, how are you gonna get out?
by doing this. By you doing this.
Hey, you got out!
Ta-da! So a number of you got it. So congratulations. I think that's such a brilliant example of expanding a worldview. Let me just go back here to our PowerPoint and let me know in the chat. Just make sure. Let me know that you can see the PowerPoint. Can you see it? Okay. Just give me a yes. Okay, great. Thanks, Pam. And welcome to everyone who's just joined us. We're talking about 5 different reasons why learning is so important. So dispelling assumptions, expanding what's possible. Think if they had called the fire department or, cut their fence or something like that. And I love that the little guy solved it. I think that's just brilliant. Okay, it also widens our perspective. So I love, this is an ad that I copied, and I think this is really, really powerful. You see an abandoned chair on the street and you think it has the potential to be something beautiful. You see a homeless youth on the street and you think, don't make eye contact. So again, just really making us think and re-examine and having us have different perspectives instead of being really, really narrow in our perspective. Okay, learning also bridges, it connects us, right? If we were all in very homogenous silos, same gender, race, socioeconomic status, recency of migration, religious and spiritual background, age, all those different kinds of things. While that may bring some ease and comfort, it wouldn't necessarily lead to a lot of powerful learning. And also learning really, really, really drives social change. I think there's some, volumes and volumes can be written about that. And most of the, probably everybody on the call is focused on some kind of social change. So if those are 5 reasons why learning is so important, why are learning plans so important? So number 1, I think that learning plans help us really be proactive. So instead of reacting to kind of a shiny new object, it allows us to be strategic and really focus on what our assets are and what our learning needs are. And for those of you not familiar, this is me actually on the coast of Kenya. This is a baobab tree. And I love this proverb, wisdom is like a baobab tree, no one individual can embrace it, which I think is just such a great quote. So learning plans, and by the way, I had a number of questions about the workshop, why do I need a learning plan? So it allows us to be proactive. It allows us to set some stretch goals. There's another blog post coming out on mountain, medium, and molehill goal setting. So watch the blog for that. And also it mentions, has anyone heard of BHAGs? I'll put this in the, does anyone know what your BHAG is? Yes, Pam, yes, big, hairy, audacious goals. So learning plans, in addition to being proactive, really help you set some stretch goals, some big, hairy, audacious goals. And they also help with career development. So most of you are probably here because of professional development. So learning plans are definitely focused on that. So let me just, here comes the Pink Panther. And just in terms of being culturally inclusive, if the Pink Panther is not something that's in your cultural pocket, it's a kind of a fumbling detective show, a movie. So this is one version of it. So let me just share the screen here. And here we go. So again, just let me know in the chat if you can see the screen. Okay, can you see it okay now? And great, okay. And Halbert's saying there's currently a flood of learning opportunities. So one approach could be to pick whatever's interesting, which might be the opposite of a learning plan. Yeah, so learning plans don't mean to not be spontaneous and all of that. It just means also taking a big picture view and being strategic. Great point, thank you. Yes, here comes Steve Martin and the Pink Panther. Okay,
I'm going to America. I'm going to have to learn to speak with a flawless American accent so as not to arouse suspicion. So find me the greatest accent coach in the world.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
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 No. Let's break it down. I would
Would
weird
weird
would like to
toi
to
toi
to
toi
buy
buy
a
a
hamburger.
hamburger
Hamburger.
hamburger
Hamburger.
hamburger
Ham.
M
Burger.
burger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
It's not Damburger. Hamburger.
I'm not saying dimburger. I said I would like to buy a hamburger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
I would like to buy the hamburger.
Hamburger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
Maybe we should stop.
We don't quit. We do not quit. Again.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
I would like to buy the burger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
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 The burger.
Okay, so not a great example of learning agility or professional development or dispelling assumptions, etc. But funny nonetheless here. Okay, so back to the screen here. Just let me know. Are you okay? Can you see the? This is Danielle. It's just me running Arabic. Yeah, I mean, what I think is so interesting about that video, other than it's pretty funny, is that there's no learning happening, right? There's only what she's just keeping the same method, just repeating something over and over and over that's not working. So the other, yeah, Pam. The other thing about learning plans is and some of you mentioned this when we were brainstorming, is that it helps you stay relevant and current. Unlike this phone, I don't know if any of you have seen the videos where they put these old rotary style phones in front of kids and kids have to try to figure out how to use them. It's pretty funny. And then finally, it leads to learning agility, right? So the neuroscience tells us that keeping our brains active leads to more and more learning. So I'm just going to show you one more quick video here. And just give me a second. Let me know if there's any questions in the chat there while I'm setting this next one up. Okay. Okay. So let me know again in the chat. Oh, whoops. Sorry, folks. Hang on. Okay, let me know in the chat if you can see a boy in a shower there. Okay, great. Okay, so here's another just really quick clip, and think about this in terms of learning.
Dude, where'd you get this shampoo? What? It's not going away. Oh, it's a natural shampoo. What is it? It's not going. Here you go. Come on, dude. Dude, it's not going. Come on, we have to go. It's not moving. Oh my God! Come on! It's not moving! I swear it's not coming off! Come help me! It's not moving! You know what? Oh my God! No!
Okay, I'm going to stop the pain there. I always am a bit torn about showing that because, yeah, Penny, like the poor guy, and yet I think it just demonstrates so well the lack of agility, right? Because what did he have to do to solve that problem? What did the boy have to do to solve the problem? Anyone? Turn around. Yes, exactly, Lucia and Alex. Yeah, so simple. So learning can just really help us be way more agile. Okay, so I've given some reasons around why learning is important. Hopefully I've tickled your funny bone around some of those videos. We've talked a little bit about why learning plans specifically are important. So I want to spend the rest of the time, except for our closing, on the learning plan itself. So you'll see I just shared a bunch of links. If you scroll back in the chat there, the first one is a link to this worksheet. So the worksheet that you see on the screen, you can get to that worksheet by the very first link. And again, to the members, I'll send you a workbook with a bunch of different resources in it, including the worksheet. The one, when you click on that link, you can download it and print it and fill it out, or it's also editable. So you can actually fill it out online as we go through it. And then the other two resources are coming up. Some of you were asking about the attendance sheet, so that link is there. And the sign up link is there, and a link to give you a little bit of background if this is new for you for the roundtable. Okay, so there are two sides to the learning plan, and this is what they both look like, and we're going to go through them. So if you are able to, thanks for letting me know, Penny. So if you, this is the one thing, it's the same thing with WhatsApp. If you join a conversation after I've shared the links, then I need to reshare. So just like in WhatsApp, if you join a group, you'll only start seeing the conversation from that point on. So there should be, oh, did I forget the, yeah, so the, okay. Oh, I see what I'm doing. I understand. Oh, sorry, folks. Sorry, hang on here. This is why I inadvertently sent them to the people in the waiting room. There's no one in the waiting room. Okay, so let me know, can you see the links there? some reason okay, great. Okay, so feel free to click on the worksheet and we're going to go through them one by one. Know that if you do, this isn't, I know not everyone has access to a printer, so don't worry about it. But if you do print one off, you can actually, there's a line on the sheet to fold it, and that can help you when you're putting together the I and the S.A.K.E.s. And none of that's going to make sense yet, but okay, so let's begin. Okay, so what I base this on, has anyone heard of the T model of professional development? Is that familiar? Okay, apologies and thank you for your patience. Okay, thanks everyone. I'm back. I just want to make sure that we're still recording. Yep, okay. And let me go back to sharing the screen. Okay. Okay, so let me know if you can hear me okay and you can see me okay in the chat there. Okay, fantastic. Good, good, good. And again, thank you for your patience. Okay, so hopefully you've been able to click on that link. And again, you can download it and fill it in, or it's also made to be editable online, so you can fill it right in. And has anybody, as I was starting to say, has anybody heard of the T model of professional development, the letter T? Is that familiar to anybody? Just let me know in the chat. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I've turned the letter T into the letter I. I've expanded on the T. So I'll get to that in just a minute. I was just curious if you'd heard of that before. The place to start with the learning plan is this part of the worksheet here. So think about starting at the top of that mountain. What is your, oh, sorry, this is it says 2020 there. This is an old one. Yours should not have a date on it, so yours should be fine. What is your vision for this year? What are some of the things that starting really big and broad, what are some goals that you'd like to set? What are some, just beginning to think of some skills and knowledge, some key people that are involved in that, and also some habits and systems that you might need to put in place. We talked about why it's important generally, but why is a learning plan important to you? It must be at least a little bit important because you showed up today. And then also to think about your preferred way of learning. So would it be helpful to have an example? Let's pop that in the chat. Do you want me to go through an example or are you okay? Okay, an example. Daniel is saying the learning plan went out the window with COVID. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a really simple example. I've done some work on Simon Sinek's Finding Your Why. So I'm quite clear about my vision. I'm quite clear about my why, my passion and my purpose. And part of that is, like a big part of that is being able to serve and being able to create the most creative, innovative, engaging learning that I can for clients. And in order to do that, I know I need to be well and healthy so that I can focus on my clients and my participants. So one of my goals for the year, as I alluded to, was learning how to play piano. And as a kid, I played organ, but I'm like, I wonder would any of that come back? So I knew that that was one of my goals. And also another one of my goals I've mentioned is learning more about unconscious bias. So that kind of bleeds over into the skills and knowledge piece. In terms of key people, for this example, that doesn't apply, and you'll see why in a minute. For habits and systems, I've done a ton of research into, and I'll just make a note, I'll include some of this in the follow-up resources. I've done a lot of research into how can we keep ourselves motivated and develop habits. So I knew learning the piano, I knew that I had to break it down and make it really, really simple. Just checking the chat here. So someone's asking about the links. Yeah, the links will be in the follow-up as long as you're a learning and development member. And I can also copy those and paste those again. So my habits and systems. So for example, learning how to play the piano, I needed to get a piano, right? I needed to get to buy a keyboard. So I went and did that. And then I put it in a place that I would see it, like that, that's by a window. It's pleasant to be there. There's a shelf. There's a place where I can put my iPad. And the biggest habit and system is I researched the best app to teach me, and it ended up for me being simply piano. So putting all those things in place makes it really, really easy. I just practice about 15 minutes a day. So I knew for me that learning in my, skipping down to preferred ways of learning in my own home, I didn't have to travel, I could use this app, you know, all of those things are a way that really fit my learning. Does anybody have any examples of, I'll just send those links again. Does anyone have any examples of your vision or something that you want to learn, or kind of a preferred way of learning? Anything you want to say about any of that? Just let me know if any of that. This is putting your learning in context. Do I have my piano example on paper to share? Not really, no, because it was just, well, actually, that's not true, Patricia. I'll send you a blog post that has some things about habits, some things to think about, just making it really, really simple. For example, under habits and systems, I was bound and determined that this year I was going to learn how to meditate, and I was going to meditate regularly. And under habits and systems, I asked friends of mine who meditate regularly what made them successful. And a really good friend of mine said when she started, she made the goal so small that she couldn't possibly fail. So for her, the goal was 1 minute of meditating. So that was one of the things I did, is made the goal so small, easy to achieve. Penny saying, in building my table, my preferred way was to watch, try, watch, fix, etc. Fantastic. Halbert saying, learning by doing, improvising, and keeping your eyes open. Sarah saying, learning French, listening to audio to tune my ears, enrolled for French class. Great. I'll also send you a link to a survey that looks at your learning preference in case you don't know it, because some of us are audio, some are visual, some need to learn by doing. A really quick way of figuring that out is, imagine that I just put a machine in front of you that can't hurt you. It's safe. It's not going to hurt you. What's your very first inclination? Would you start pressing buttons? A. Would you, just making a note so I can tell you which is which. Would you, B, would you start reading the manual? Or C, would you ask someone for help? So how many would A, start pressing buttons, B, look at the manual, the instruction manual, or C, ask someone to explain it to you? So we've got a couple of B's, we've got a C, B, and A. Yeah. So that's just a really simple way of looking at how does information more easily get into your brain. So A is kinesthetic, you learn by doing, B is visual, and C is audio, by listening. Okay, so let's go on to, and by the way, you may have noticed, or just to let you know, there's a whole section here for notes. So you can draw images there, make little notes, your musings, etc. Okay, so let's go back to the I. So I turned the T into an I. And by the way, sometimes people get this mixed up and think that this is that this can only focus on the I, that this has to be individual. The I doesn't stand for individual. It's just the shape. So the T model of professional development, you have this top part here, and these are general, broad knowledge and skills that is based on your job, your sector, your agency, your organization, etc. So what would be an example? Drop something in the chat of something that you need to know generally. You don't have to be an expert in it, but you have to know a little bit about this, some general knowledge about this particular topic to be able to do the work that you do. What would be an example of that skill or that knowledge base for you? Any ideas? So Karen's saying financial markets. Yeah. Could be anything, right? Yeah. So I do a lot of consulting for the UN. Penny's saying HR. Yeah, so I need to know a little bit about billing and how I get paid, but I don't have to be a deep expert. So this is it's not deep, it's wide and broad. Okay, so try to identify those skills for yourself. These are general skills. You do not have to be an expert, but you need to know about these broadly. That's why it's not deep. This is the top of the T or the top of the I. The second part of the I, so and this is, or the T, because I added the base part here. These are very specific skills and knowledge areas that you need for your job, your team, your agency, etc. So for me, that's learning and development, right? That field. I am a deep, deep subject matter expert. I have spent 30 years learning about learning. And it wouldn't be morally right for me to work with clients and participants if I wasn't a really deep subject matter expert in the area of learning and development. Oh, so Penny's saying that's where HR should be. Okay. Yeah, so the difference between the top of the I is you don't need to know very much about this. So that's like the financial procurement systems of the UN. I need to know a little bit about how I submit my invoices and how I get paid and that, but I don't have to be a deep expert. These pieces here that you put in this literally long, narrow, deep part, these are the ones that you need to have very deep expertise in. So any examples? So Penny's given HR. Do we have any other examples on the call? What would be something that you have some deep expertise in, or you want to, because this is a learning plan, you want to become a deeper subject matter expert? Oh, Karen, so communication skills. That's a great example. Pam's saying facilitation. So I added the bottom part to make the T into an I. So depending on your particular job, communication can either be this part of the I or this part of the I, and I'll explain that in just a minute. So Lucia is saying Excel spreadsheets, Daniela saying youth and women entrepreneurship, Karen saying dissecting problems, data analysis, public speaking and data analysis, professional coaching. Yeah, so if you divide your knowledge and your skill set so far into two areas, that can really help you, A, identify your strengths and your assets, and then B, the things that you want to work on. And Lila's saying facilitating a training in HR. Yeah, great. So that leaves this bottom part. So this is where I turned the T. So if we didn't have this bottom part, this would be a T, but I added this bottom part. And these are the things that I think it's important. If you're human, you need to have some general broad skills and knowledge on these areas. So if you, let me just copy it again here. Just going to click those links. In the link there is a fortune teller So I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna stop the share for a second and I'll show you what this looks like. So I'm just bringing this up on my screen here. So in my work with teams, I think that it's really important to have some general skills. If you are a human and unless you're living in a cave and you have absolutely zero interaction with people, I think it's really important to have some general skills in what I call the C's. So someone put a color. I've just gone on to the link here that I shared with you. So someone pick a color: red, green, yellow, or blue. You put that in the chat. We'll see what happens here. Okay, so Daniela says red. Okay, so it'll play. You may recall this from your childhood, these kind of fortune tellers. Okay, and then someone pick a number 1, 2, 3, or 4 and put it in the chat. Neha remembers it from childhood. 3, I saw. Okay, so it'll do 3. And then pick a number 5, 6, 7, or 8. Someone pick that. So pick 5, 6, 7, or 8. 7, I see 2 7s. Okay. And then it will come up with one of the C's. So you can play this. It has to do with conflict, communication, celebration, culture, collaboration, change. Oh, Danielle is saying cootie catchers. I haven't heard that. Okay. So if you're wondering about these sort of general skills, and Karen, that's why it was so great to see you put communication there, because it could be, depending on what it is that you do, communication. If you teach communication, if that's a big part of your business in terms of your job, that might be an area that you need a lot of very, very deep expertise, or it might be at the bottom of the I here, which are the things that you generally need to do in order to be human and play well with others. Okay, comments, questions, how's that feeling? Does that make sense? Oh, Karen's saying, yeah, it could be in both, sure. Because communication, there's a lot of different kinds of communication. There's facilitation, there's intercultural communication, there's communication via email, there's writing reports. So some of those might be a very deep skill set, and some of those might be the general broad. It's a great, great, great comment there. Okay, any other questions there? Anything else about the right-hand side of the sheet or the left hand? I want to make sure, especially that the I makes sense. Oh, and I think I started that thought, but I may not have finished it, that the I is just the letter. It doesn't mean that this has to only be for you. You can do this for your organization, and you can link the learning plan to your organizational goals. You can do this with your team, right? So the I doesn't mean it just has to be an individual. The I, sometimes people assume that I has to stand for individual. I've got a comment about the chats being confusing. Sorry, I can't split the chats, but let me know if you have a specific question, and I'm here to help you. Okay. Okay, then to continue on, we've got the S.A.K.E.s. So this is where if you do print this off, you can fold it along the line, and you can take those things that you've decided that you want to learn more about and have in your learning plan, or sorry, right here on this side, the things you want to learn more about, and then you can dive into those even deeper. So S.A.K.E.s are, and I'll send you a blog post that describes these even more too, and you can also find your S.A.K.E. preference. So I'll send you a survey, because some of you will like some of these and some of you will not like some of these. You will almost always, people have a bias. So what are S.A.K.E.s? S stands for skills. So what are the things that the actual skills that you want to develop based on those areas of knowledge that you want to learn more about this year? A stands for attitude. So how do you feel motivated, and linking this to your vision and your mission and your values? K stands for knowledge. So that's the theoretical information research piece. And then E is experience. So how do you actually make that all come together and actually put those things into play? So any questions on those, on the S.A.K.E.s? It's just another way to make sure that you're focused on the kind of having a comprehensive view of learning. So Neha's asking the E. So the E stands for experience. So that's when you actually put everything into, you're actually practicing those. So the example I like to use for that is if you're learning how to swim, you could get the skill piece. You could learn how to do front crawl, for example. You could have the proper attitude around life-saving and being careful around water. You could have the knowledge of how to, how to breathe and turn your head, etc. But if you don't practice, if you don't get experience, then you're not going to learn how to swim. So E is experience. I think some folks that, I apologize, the internet's breaking up. So I'll try to speak even a bit slower, and sometimes that helps in terms of, it doesn't help speed up the internet, but it makes it easier to listen. Sorry. Yeah, Lucia, thank you. Yeah, so skills, attitude, knowledge, and experience. Some people, think about yourself when, and this is what I'll send you the survey, you can find your preference. Sometimes if you're taking a workshop, people are just like, I want to do something, give me something to do, give me something to do. Those tend to be skill people. If your bias or your preference is attitude, you want it to feel good. You want it to be connected. You want it to make sense to your purpose, to your vision, to your mission, to your values. If you're focused on knowledge, give me those citations, give me more blog posts to read, give me worksheets, reports to read, etc. And if you're if you're focused on that, you just want to apply everything. So Patricia, yeah, E is experience there. So it's the piece when, as a trainer, when I'm designing curriculum, I'll focus on these 4 things. The experience piece is setting up for the learning to leave the room. So it's helping learners apply their learning. Okay. Any questions before we move on? Oh, by the way, sorry. I should have had this up. Here's a visual for the S.A.K.E.s here. Okay. Are we good to move on? We're going to have a little competition in a second. Yeah, okay. Great. Okay. So, by the way, I'd love to know in the chat, how many of you have, if you had to guess, which of these 4 things do you prioritize when you're taking a workshop or you're giving a workshop? Are you very skill oriented, attitude, knowledge, or experience? Which ones are important to you? Just feel free to pop that in the chat. Do you focus on, I want to learn how to do something? That's a skill. Do you tend to focus on attitudes? You want it to connect to your vision and your values? Do you focus on knowledge? One way to make knowledge seekers frustrated is to reel off statistics and not have citations. Daniela, I can hear you groaning probably on that one. I'm guessing that would upset you. And experience, or those are the people who want to put everything into action. So we've got lots of different things here. So let's see, we've got skills and knowledge, skills, experience and knowledge, combination, attitude and knowledge, skills and attitude. Great. I love this. What I would really love you to notice is that everybody's different. And when we're designing learning pieces, we will design from our bias. We will design from our preference. So knowledge people may struggle a little bit with application, and creating, getting the learning to leave the room. Skill people might jump too quickly to skills without enough knowledge. So we need all 4 of those pieces there. Okay. Patricia's saying A for attitude, but also for apple. Need a snack. Yeah, I know. I'm in Nairobi and we're over our dinner time. So wherever you are on the hunger spectrum there, I have your back. Heidi's saying, I want to learn transferable skill building on the others. Yeah. So just try to think, and when I send out the resources next week, again, to members get this, you can take a survey that looks at your preference, and then just make sure that the ones that aren't your preference, that you include those in your learning plan, because you could be at risk of leaving those out. Okay, so I'm just going to stop sharing. I just want to pause before, though. Any other questions before we continue? So far we've talked about the big, broad picture of the learning plan, kind of your vision, a general start to some of the things you want to learn, how you like to learn, and then you can focus on the I. The top of the I are those broad things that are related to your current job, your sector, your organization, etc. The middle part are those very deep skill sets that you are developing and building on. And then the bottom are those general broad skills that you need to be human. You need communication skills, conflict resolution skills, managing change, etc. Karen's saying, how many new skills do you suggest as maximum to put in one learning plan? Oh, that's a great question. I think it depends. And I don't want that to sound like that's an easy out. And I'd love to hear what other people think. So feel free to put that in the chat, your comments in the chat. But it really depends on how much time do you have for learning. And for example, if you have things, in my case, like learning how to meditate, which takes me 5-10 minutes a day, it's very, very short, versus learning about unconscious bias, versus my partner's doing his PhD. So it depends on the breadth and the depth of the learning that you're doing. And we're going to get to, actually, I'll give you some more things to consider about that in a few minutes too. Great question, Karen. Danielle is saying, I think it depends on the audience and subject matter. Yeah. So how much time do you have for learning? What is your priority for learning? I know for myself, some years I have more of a focus. I always have a learning plan, but some years I'm able to devote more time to that than others. Sometimes there's a lot in there because they take a bit less time. They're not so heavy and dense, and other times it's much more focused on big, significant things I'm learning. Think about it as the difference between, say, if you're doing your PhD or a master's degree or an undergraduate degree versus I want to meditate 10 minutes a day kind of thing. Marco saying, is it actually better to focus only on one skill or try to learn a few at the same time? Again, I think it really depends on your motivation, on your need, and on your capacity for change, because learning is about change, right? We're learning to change an attitude, a skill. We're trying to apply something. We're changing the way we view things. We're unlearning things. So I think it depends, again, on how difficult that skill is. If you're trying to learn, again, if you're doing a PhD, that's a really big thing to be focused on versus some smaller things. I'd love to know in the chat what's worked for people in terms of, if you think back in prior years for you, what has set you up for achieving your learning goals, and what are some things that might have not been helpful for you. Brenda's saying, I think less is better. Otherwise you could lose focus or fail to achieve your goals. Yep. Daniela, what do you mean by organization or tasks? I'm not quite sure what you mean there. Yeah, and I think particularly, it's really, really important to notice, to remember that we're in a global pandemic. So while I always think it's important to stretch and learn and grow, you also want to give yourself grace and figure out how much energy you have for these things, and not set yourself up to fail because you've just you've made it too difficult. Oh, Daniela is saying dividing the learning objectives into smaller doable tasks and organizing them in a system of priority. Yeah, what I've started doing is having, a couple people put Excel sheets. I've been playing with different task management systems and Asana and Trello and ClickUp. And I recently have just started doing Excel sheets. So Google Sheets online, I make them all different colors and categories and drop down menus, and then I divide it all up into, which month I'm going to do things, I'm going to learn things, and then which week. Now that's really detailed. Some let me know in the chat, how many of you went, oh, that sounds like a great idea? And how many of you went, oh, that sounds too detailed and too constrictive? I'd love to know. Penny's saying, work out how much time to devote and stick to it. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Daniela saying, I'm low tech, I have an old fashioned to-do list. Perfect, that's the thing, right? Is find what works for you. Lucia loves it. Karen saying too detailed. Yeah, Neha, love it. Too constrictive, says Penny. I love it, yeah. So I love, and I was hoping that we would get this, that some people love that and some people are like, not for me. So the important thing is that you find the system that works for you. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground, and I really appreciate your comments and your questions and sharing what's worked for you and ideas. And with your permission now, actually too, and I just encourage you, when you're doing your learning plan, to also keep in mind the lens of, learning is all about stretching. So I was doing a workshop this morning on engaging, how do you get high engagement online, and tons of tools for that. And I could feel the participants were like, that sounds like a really good idea, but oh, it's scary. So really supporting them and encouraging them to, each person try one tool. They're organizing a big event next week. Pick one tool and stretch yourself to try one tool next week to get high engagement with your team. Okay, thanks, Karen. Really, really lovely. Karen's just sending a message there. Okay, so I would love to, I'm just going to stop the recording in a minute, and I'm going to divide you into pairs. And I would like you to make a list of all the different ways you can learn. And this is all about quantity. So the pair that has the biggest list will win a prize. Okay, well, each person in the pair will win a prize. So I'm talking about things like you can learn from a book. Okay, so things like that. So in a moment, I'm going to divide you into small groups, into pairs. Write down your ideas and number them, and then share those in the chat, and we'll see who has the most number. Before I divide you up, are there any questions on the task? So you're going to spend maybe 5 minutes with your partner, and you're going to brainstorm, how can you learn? What are different ways to learn? So for an example, you can learn from a book. Any questions? Okay, so in a moment then, I'm going to divide you into pairs, and you'll see a message pop up on your screen. You need to accept that so that it will then automatically put you into a breakout room. Okay, and I'll let you know when you have 1 minute left. Make sure that you keep track of all your items and then share them in the chat when you come back. Okay, some of you might have, there we go, okay, more than one, yeah, okay, so you should have 2 people in each group. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we're recording again, and we're looking in the chat here. We've got, so from Penny, there's a ton there, great. And Penny, did you put your number there? Kirsten, if you can did you write down the 58? I need to see the ones to be able to, because you and your partner would win if we see the 58. Otherwise, what's the other, what other number is, Kirsten, you said I put on video. I'm not sure what that means. So Irene's got a ton there. Penny's got 37. Okay, so I think 37 is the highest, except unless we see the 58 from Kirsten's group. So just as you...
Hi there, I'm on video. I put the list on the video on my chat window. Does that work?
Oh, can you copy it?
See it?
No, can't see it. Can you copy it and put it in our chat? So I'll let you focus on that. And just while you're doing that, we'll figure out who the, so if we can see the 58, then, sorry, it was Kirsten, right? Okay, so I'm just writing down your name. Or it was Penny, was it you at 37? Oh, Patricia, you had technical issues, sorry. Yeah, it's great when tech works. And yeah, so Penny had 37. Okay, so let me know. And Penny and Halvard, okay, great. And Kirsten, let me know who your partner is and if you can send those, and then we'll figure out who the winner is. And the prize for whoever has the most, it's Penny and Halvard or Kirsten and your partner. Just let me know who that was. I am so excited. This has been a dream of mine for many years, is to get my Life Lenses personality assessment online. So very soon, my team has been working so hard on getting this online so people can take the survey and then get a custom generated workbook and report. And the Life Lenses look at what comes onto your radar easily, naturally, and comfortably, and what do you miss because it's awkward, uncomfortable, or not important. So Kirsten, you can maybe send me an email and let me know, and then I can be in touch accordingly. So I'll remind you there. Halima, 26, great, nice. Okay, we've got, and what I'll do is put all of these together because we'll take we have a recording of the chat. And in the meantime, here are some ideas here. So these have come from other folks. So online synchronous courses, asynchronous courses. Synchronous means in real time. So what we're doing right now. Asynchronous means you can take the course whenever you like. Oh, I'm not sure why they're about enough. Face-to-face courses, videos, podcasts, books, magazines, networking, study groups, virtual field trips. There's just tons and tons and tons of different ideas there. So I will add your ideas. I'd like to have one really big list there. And the other thing, so you've got kind of a sense, you've got a tool anyways, you've worksheet about how to fill in your vision and different ways you like to learn, because of course the important task with doing this is to figure out what fits you. You know, some people will love, pop in the chat how you feel about podcasts. So from a scale of 1 to 5, 1 is I would rather do anything than listen to a podcast, and 5 is I love them and I listen to them all the time. So Anna's saying 4, Marco's 4, lots of 4s. Neha's 4, Lucia's 3, yeah, 5, but only the good ones, says Pam. Yeah, we've got a 2. Oh, Crystal's saying 5. I live every day with podcasts. Yeah. So it's important to fit the learning to you, right? So once you're working through your letter I, you've got all the things that, you know, broadly you skills and knowledge you want to work on, those deep subject matter experts, and then those broad skills and knowledge based on being human, then you also want to figure out your learning plan in terms of how you're going to learn them. So all of these different ways I will collate and send to you. Just make a note of that. So from the chat, so we get just a nice, a really nice long list. And then the final one of the final things to think about are some other things to do with learning. So feel free to take a few minutes and annotate the screen. So I've just enabled annotation. So if you go to your toolbar, you should be able to mark the screen now. So these are different categories of learning, and there's words hidden in this word search here. So for example, quiet is a word, professional is a word. So I can see people filling in. This is great. So feel free, if you can see these words, to circle them or cross them out. So we've got evergreen, we've got worksheets, we've got experience, we've got motivation, activities, real time, art, video, Wi-Fi. I don't know what Snoop. What is that? I don't know if that. And they also can go up and down too. And what do you? Oh, Lucia found one there. Blog. Yep. Great. Any other ones you can find? Oh, and I love that you cross that off. Yeah, when you find a word, feel free to cross it off on the list on the right there. What else? Pen we've got. Okay. Oh, you guys are doing great. Motivation is getting crossed off. Worksheets. So when you find a word, feel free to cross it off. Oh, discussion, good one. I wrote spelled backwards. So feel free to cross it off on the right there. Nicely done. Oh, and we've got course. Yeah, great. Are there other ones that have been found that aren't crossed off yet? I'm just checking. Motivation, activities. Just while you're doing this, okay, I'll cross off activities. We found that one. This was done with a program, it's the weirdest name, called Armored Penguin. So you can make word searches and crossword puzzles really, really easily. So that's what I used. And the great thing about Armored Penguin is you actually, every puzzle, whether it's a word search or a crossword, you get 4 resources. So you get an online fill-inable puzzle, you get an online answer sheet, so HTML, and you get a downloadable puzzle and a downloadable answer sheet. Okay, any ones that we're missing yet? Oh, I see video is found. Oh, great, good. right, you got a lot of them. It's not easy. Any other ones? Okay, I'm going to take a screen grab of this, and I'll put this in the resource package. I'll also give you a link to this puzzle as well. Okay, so I am going to clear the screen now. So I'm just going to stop and clear the screen so that we can continue on with the next slides. Because if you may or may not know on Zoom, that if I didn't clear the screen, all of that stuff continues on with on the other slides. So you might think, what the heck was all that stuff? Like these are all the words here, but what do those have to do with? So what I did is I did a word search based on processes for learning. What kind of timing of learning are you focused on? Do you need people around you? Do you want to do it all on your own? What are your goals for learning? Your channels of learning? I'd love to know in the chat, how many of you, oh, Patricia saying not sure how to, okay. Oh, thanks, Patricia, I saw your message there. How many of you in the chat when you're learning want quiet, peace, no one around, there's no distractions, just very, very quiet? And how many of you could learn when there's a circus going on? Like it doesn't, like you prefer, you could go to a coffee shop and there could be conversations around you. There could be music playing and you really like that kind. So Lucia is saying, me, I need quiet. Okay. James, quiet, same. Baron saying must be quiet without distractions. Okay, Crystal's both. Interesting, nice. Janet, lots of quiet. Okay, oh, Esther can do both. Neha, semi-quiet, not too, oh, I love that. You know that about yourself, not too quiet. Alexander, quiet, but with light background noise or study music. Nice. And I'm sure, Alexander, that you probably have some opinions about what makes for good study music. I'm sure there's some music that would not be appealing to you and other kinds of music that is. Alexander's both. Raphael is quiet. Anna is like this, either quiet or low buzz. Vanessa is both. Penny, I like quiet, but I can tune out if I have allocated time. I don't hear background music. Quiet. Okay, so lots of quiet ones or both. Great. Okay, so that brings us to, we're pretty close to the end. Oh, and Daniela is saying, depends on what I'm learning. I wrote a paper at Chuck E. Cheese. For those of you who that's not a cultural reference you're familiar with, Chuck E. Cheese is a children's play area that is, think of like a 3-ring circus. Like there's lots and lots and lots of noise and pinball machines and balls being thrown. And it's about as noisy and chaotic as you can get. Okay, so knowing these things about yourself will help you design your learning plan, because oftentimes people can get stuck. They have these great goals, these really, these things that they really, really want to learn. But then if it's not, if you don't learn it in a way that's meaningful to you, if you love quiet and you prefer to learn by podcasts, but you're being forced to take a course in a really, really noisy environment, that can be distracting. Lila, I think you raised your hand there. Was there a question or a comment?
Sorry, it was an error. Sorry.
Oh, okay. No worries. No worries. Thank you. And we've got someone joining us. Oh, and Kristen sent us our list. Kristen, feel free to put, if you're comfortable, if you could send that to the whole group, that would be great. And also let us know. Oh, Lila, if you can mute yourself, that would be great.
Let me finish class. For 10 minutes, we'll be done.
Lila, if you can mute yourself. Okay. Okay, and I think we've got Heidi's coming in too. Okay. Great, thank you. Thank you, Kirsten. And let us know who your partner is so that I can get a hold of you and award you your prize, your Life Lenses piece. Okay, so I would invite you to take your right hand and put it in the air. So everyone take your right hand, put it in the air, and give yourselves a pat on the back. That was a whole lot of stuff, like a whole lot of stuff. We went high on the mountain from vision, you know, your big plans, what makes you tick, to the letter I, to how you learn best, and you've got that worksheet to capture all of those things. So as we round out, one thing to really bring this home is to make sure that you've written it down. So it doesn't have to be on paper, it can be in the cloud, it can be on that fill-inable PDF online, but it really is important. The research is very clear that if things are written down, you have a much better chance of achieving those things. There's a message saying from Linny Vicky and a lady from UEA, please give a hands up. I'm not sure what that means, so let us know. Just give me a little bit more information there. So to round out our time together, oh, and also to be concrete and have a timeline and be specific. Those are all things that will help you achieve this lovely learning plan that you're starting to put together. So to come back from where we started, oh, the members with the 58 list. Okay, got it. Okay, thank you. I'm just gonna make a note of that. Oh, so you were the one team with 3 people. Okay. Okay. Great. Okay. Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to come full circle. We've talked about the importance of learning. We've talked about the importance of learning plans, for learning agility, for staying relevant and current, for breaking out of old world views, for breaking out of assumptions. So I want to ask you this question again. How many items do you see here? So last time I think we had 5 was the most. Can you think of it? So Pam is saying 11. Nice. Pam, can you explain your answer? Oh, Kirsten saying, okay. So the person who was in Kirsten and Linny Vicky's group, just send me a direct message or put it in the chat so I know who you are. So Pam saying 5 fingers, 5 shapes, and a piece of paper. Yeah. And, you know, it could be, you know, you could count the lines, you could count my fingernails, you could, you know, I mean, that's what learning is about, right? You could count these spaces here. So this could count for 3. You could count all of the things on the screen, right? Not just what's right here, but also over here. So I think that's what learning does. It opens up new possibilities. It leads us to social change. It just really is an incredible thing that's going to dig us out of all of these pressing social problems that we have. So again, we have covered a lot of ground. We've talked about what a learning plan is and why it's important, how to use the template. Lucia's saying 18. I like that. Oh, and Pam is infinity. Great. By the way, Pam, I love that you counted the piece of paper. Not very many people do that. Esther had 17. That's great. So we use that template, that worksheet, and we talked about the S.A.K.E.s, the skills, the attitude, the knowledge, and the experience. And then hopefully you had some fun along the way. I played some funny videos, including the Pink Panther. We had a competition. And I'd love to know, of all the things that we covered, what's one thing that you want to do right away? What's one thing that you've taken away that you want to apply right away? What's one thing that we've covered that you think, okay, I want to focus on this? Marco's saying paint. Oh, so that's one of your learning goals, Marco, I'm assuming? Great. That's Lida's saying create a learning plan. Great. Good. Yeah, I hope that you all go away and take all of that really luscious, lovely, juicy, interesting learning things that you want to do and make the plan your own. James is saying, find my method. Penny is saying, understand my style. Halvard saying, picking ideas from your interactive teaching skills. Oh, that's great. Thank you. Neha is saying, so helpful. Thank you so much. Oh, it's so lovely to have you here. Thank you. Oh, Alexander saying, thinking of general versus deep skills for me. Nice. Yeah, so I'm filling out that I, that letter I. Lucy is creating an armored penguin crossword. Yeah, it's such a weird name. Pam saying, this was so great. I'm so happy to have finally done a course with the Leanna. Thanks, the Pam. That's so lovely. Janet saying, think through what you've shared, define my goals. Nice, Alexandra. Okay, so Patricia saying, thank you for today. Very jam-packed session. Now I need that apple. Yes, yes. There's a Greek saying that goes, a hungry belly has no ears. A hungry belly has no ears. So eating, those basic needs are really important for learning. Okay, as we just really quickly close out, here are some action items for you. If you want to become a member, if you are not already a member, because remember, only the members get access to all the follow-up resources, you need to sign up. And I can put that in the chat one last time here. I think I've still got it pasted. No, I don't. I'll put that in the chat again in just a second. Please, if you can ask at least 2 other people, I would love, if you got things out of today, if you enjoyed our time together, please invite other people to sign up, share that link with them. Mark your calendars with upcoming dates. Feel free to email me if you have another idea for topic. And if you're a UN staff person, fill in that sheet today so that you get credit for today. This is what the sign up looks like. And again, I'll pop that link in the chat in just a second. And I will send out the PowerPoint to members, the audio recording, the video recording, and all the resources that I used in today's workshop. And if you need some help with your teams, if you need some help with tech tools for ease and efficiency or training of trainers, please get in touch. I would love to work with you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. You are rock stars. I appreciate you, appreciate all the hard work that you're doing under incredibly challenging circumstances. Please stay well, stay safe, stay creative, and I hope to see you next month. Thank you, everyone. I'll stay on the call. I'm just going to stop the recording.